Hello, beautiful soul. I want you to take a moment right now and just settle in wherever you are. Feel your body in this space. Feel the support beneath you and know that you are exactly where you need to be in this moment. There is something so precious about the fact that you are here, that you have chosen to spend this time with me, seeking something deeper, something more meaningful in your life. I know that life can feel overwhelming sometimes. There are days when you wake up and the weight of everything seems to press down on your chest, making even the simplest tasks feel impossible. There are moments when you look around at your circumstances and wonder how you got here, how things became so complicated, so heavy, so far from what you had hoped for. And then there are those quiet times, perhaps like right now, when something inside you whispers that there has to be another way, that there has to be more magic available to you than what you are currently experiencing. What I want you to know, what I need you to understand with every fiber of your being, is that you are not broken. You are not behind in life. You are not missing some secret that everyone else seems to have figured out. You are a magnificent being having a human experience, and part of that experience includes moments of confusion, struggle, and seeking. These are not signs of failure. They are signs of growth, signs that your soul is calling you towards something greater. The challenges you face, the stress that keeps you awake at night, the worry that follows you through your days, these are not permanent fixtures in your life. They are simply experiences passing through you, and just as they came into your awareness, they can leave. But here is what I have learned after decades of studying the human heart and spirit. The key to transformation does not lie in changing your external circumstances first. The key lies in remembering the power you already possess within you. Right now, as you listen to these words, there is a force moving through your body that is more powerful than any medication, more reliable than any external solution, and more available to you than anything else in your entire life. This force has been with you since the moment you took your first breath, and it will be with you until you take your last. It connects you to every living thing on this planet, and it holds within it the ability to shift your entire reality in ways that will amaze you. You might be thinking that this sounds too simple, too good to be true. Your mind might be telling you that real change requires struggle, effort, and time. But what if I told you that some of the most profound shifts happen not through force, but through a gentle returning to what is most natural to you? What if the very thing you need to transform your life is happening right now, in this moment, without you even having to think about it? There are people walking through this world carrying burdens that feel too heavy to bear, and they have no idea that relief is literally one breath away. There are souls who have tried every therapy, every technique, every program, and they still feel disconnected from their own power. And then there are those who discover that the simplest things, the things we do without thinking, contain the greatest magic of all. Your presence here tells me that you are ready for something new. You are ready to stop struggling so hard against life and start flowing with the incredible intelligence that is already guiding you. You are ready to discover that the peace you seek, the joy you long for, the sense of purpose and connection you crave, all of it is already within you, waiting to be awakened. Every person who has ever lived has had moments when they felt separate from life, when they felt like they were watching their own existence from the outside, unable to fully participate in the beauty and wonder that surrounds them. This feeling of separation is not a personal failing, it is part of the human condition. But it is also not your permanent state. You were designed to feel connected, alive, and vibrant. You were created to experience the fullness of life, not just survive it. The journey we are about to take together will bring you back home to yourself. It will remind you of capabilities you have always had but may have forgotten. And the beautiful thing is that this journey does not require you to become someone different than who you are. It simply requires you to become more fully who you already are, to step into the natural rhythm and flow that has always been your birthright. So let yourself relax now. Let yourself be open to the possibility that change can be gentle, that transformation can be natural, and that the life you dream of is not something you have to earn or prove yourself worthy of. It is something you can begin to experience right now, starting with the very next breath you take. Breathing. Such a simple word for something so profound. Most people think of breathing as just something the body does automatically, like the heart beating or the blood flowing through the veins. And while it is true that breathing happens without our conscious effort, there is so much more to this sacred act than just keeping us alive. When you were born, the very first thing you did was take a breath. Before you opened your eyes, before you cried, before you experienced anything else about this world, you breathed. That first breath was your announcement to the universe that you had arrived, that you were ready to begin this incredible adventure of being human. And in that moment, you were perfect, complete, and connected to the source of all life. Think about what breath really is. It is the life force itself moving through you. Every breath you take contains the same air that has been breathed by every person who has ever lived before you. The oxygen that fills your lungs right now has been part of trees, part of oceans, part of the wind that moves across mountains and valleys. You are literally breathing in the essence of life itself, and with every exhale, you are releasing your own essence back into the world to be shared with all of creation. In many ancient traditions, the word for breath and the word for spirit are the same. This is not a coincidence. Our ancestors understood something that we have forgotten in our busy modern lives. They knew that breath is the bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world, between the body and the soul, between the human experience and the divine experience. When you breathe consciously, when you bring your attention to this life-giving force moving through you, something magical happens. You step out of the constant chatter of your mind and into the present moment. You move from thinking about life to actually living it. You shift from being a victim of your circumstances to being a creator of your experience. Most of us have never been taught how to breathe properly. We live in a world that keeps us in a constant state of low-level stress, and our breathing has adapted to this stressed state. We breathe shallowly, using only the top portion of our lungs. We hold our breath when we concentrate, when we worry, when we feel afraid. We breathe quickly and irregularly, matching the pace of our anxious thoughts rather than setting our own rhythm. But shallow, stressed breathing does more than just limit the amount of oxygen we take in. It sends a constant signal to our nervous system that we are in danger, that we need to be ready to fight or run away. This keeps our bodies flooded with stress hormones and our minds locked into patterns of worry and fear. It is like living your entire life with your foot on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. When you begin to breathe consciously, deeply, and rhythmically, you send a completely different message to your entire system. You tell your body that it is safe to relax, safe to heal, safe to open to the goodness that life wants to bring you. You activate the part of your nervous system that allows for rest, restoration, and growth. You create space for new possibilities to enter your awareness. Conscious breathing is like tuning a musical instrument. When a guitar is out of tune, even the most beautiful song sounds discordant and unpleasant. But when each string is tuned to its perfect pitch, the music that emerges can move people to tears, can heal hearts, can inspire great acts of love and creativity. Your breath is the tuning mechanism for your entire being. When your breathing is conscious and intentional, everything else in your life begins to come into harmony. There is a reason why every spiritual tradition on earth includes some form of breathing practice. It is not because these traditions are trying to make things complicated or mystical. It is because people throughout history have discovered that breath is the most direct path to experiencing the sacred within everyday life. It is the fastest way to shift from feeling separate and scared to feeling connected and peaceful. The beautiful thing about working with your breath is that it is always available to you. You do not need special equipment. You do not need to go anywhere special. You do not need permission from anyone else. Your breath is your constant companion, your built-in tool for transformation, your direct line to the infinite wisdom and love that flows through all of life. Right now, just notice your breathing without trying to change it. Feel the air coming into your nostrils. Feel your chest and belly expanding. Feel the gentle pause before you exhale. Feel the release as the air flows out of you. This simple act of noticing, of bringing your attention to what is already happening, is the first step in reclaiming your power to shape your own experience. Your relationship with your breath is a reflection of your relationship with life itself. When you trust your breath, you begin to trust life. When you relax into the natural rhythm of breathing, you begin to relax into the natural rhythm of living. When you allow your breath to nourish you fully, you open yourself to receive all the nourishment that life wants to give you. Now, let us explore something that may surprise you. Your breath is not just something that keeps your physical body alive. Your breath is actually one of the most powerful tools you have for creating the reality you experience. The way you breathe directly influences the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you show up in the world. And the way you show up in the world determines what kinds of experiences and opportunities come to you. When you understand this connection between your breath and your reality, everything changes. You stop being a passive observer of your life and become an active participant in creating it. You discover that you have far more influence over your experiences than you ever realized. Most people live their lives backwards when it comes to creating change. They wait for their circumstances to change before they allow themselves to feel better. They think that once they get the job, find the relationship, heal the illness, or solve the problem, then they will be able to breathe easily and feel peaceful. But this approach keeps them stuck in a cycle of stress and struggle because they are trying to create from a place of tension and resistance. The truth is that your external reality is a reflection of your internal state. The thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, and the energy you carry within you are constantly broadcasting signals out into the world, and the world responds to these signals by bringing you experiences that match them. When you are breathing in a stressed, anxious way, you are sending out signals of stress and anxiety, and life responds by giving you more things to feel stressed and anxious about. But when you shift your breathing, you shift your internal state, and when you shift your internal state, you begin to attract different experiences. It is like changing the radio station. When you tune into a station of peace and calm through your breathing, the universe starts playing songs of peace and calm in your life. Your nervous system is constantly scanning your environment and your internal state to determine whether you are safe or in danger. This scanning happens below the level of your conscious awareness, but it has a huge impact on how you perceive and respond to everything that happens to you. When your breathing is shallow and rapid, your nervous system interprets this as a sign of danger and activates your stress response. In this state, your mind focuses on problems and threats, your body tenses up, and your heart closes down to protect itself. But when your breathing is deep, slow, and rhythmic, your nervous system gets the message that all is well. In this state, your mind naturally focuses on possibilities and solutions. Your body relaxes and opens, and your heart becomes available for love and connection. You literally see the world differently depending on how you are breathing. This is not just a nice idea or a metaphor. There is solid science behind the connection between breathing and perception. Different breathing patterns activate different parts of your brain and release different combinations of hormones and neurotransmitters. When you breathe consciously, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for creativity, problem solving, and emotional regulation. You also stimulate the production of feel-good chemicals like serotonin and endorphins, while reducing the production of stress hormones like cortisol. What this means is that by simply changing the way you breathe, you can literally change your brain chemistry and, as a result, change your entire experience of life. You can shift from feeling overwhelmed to feeling capable, from feeling anxious to feeling peaceful, from feeling disconnected to feeling deeply connected to yourself and others. But the effects of conscious breathing go even deeper than changing your brain chemistry. When you breathe with intention and awareness, you align yourself with the natural rhythms of life itself. You tap into the same intelligence that grows flowers, heals wounds, and moves the planets in their orbits. You connect with the creative force that is constantly seeking to express itself through you in new and beautiful ways. The people who seem to live charmed lives, who attract wonderful opportunities and relationships with ease, who radiate a sense of peace and joy even in challenging times, these people have learned, either consciously or unconsciously, to breathe in a way that keeps them aligned with the flow of life rather than fighting against it. They understand that their internal state is their most valuable asset, and that their breath is the key to maintaining that state regardless of what is happening around them. When you begin to use your breath consciously, you will start to notice that your intuition becomes clearer. Ideas and insights will come to you more easily. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time more often. People will respond to you differently because you will be carrying a different energy. Opportunities that seemed impossible before will begin to open up naturally. This is not magic in the supernatural sense. This is the natural result of aligning yourself with the way life actually works. When you are relaxed, present, and open, which is what conscious breathing creates, you are able to perceive and respond to the subtle guidance and opportunities that are always available to you, but that stress and anxiety make invisible. Your breath is your most reliable ally in creating the life you truly want to live. It is always with you, always available, always ready to help you shift from where you are to where you want to be. And the most beautiful thing is that you do not have to wait until you have mastered some complicated technique or reach some advanced spiritual state to begin experiencing the benefits. Every conscious breath you take is a step toward greater freedom, greater joy, and greater aliveness. The reality you are living right now was created by the quality of your breathing over time. The reality you will live tomorrow and next week and next year will be created by how you choose to breathe from this moment forward. This gives you tremendous power and tremendous responsibility. It means that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a creator of your experience. And it means that transformation is not something that happens to you, but something that happens through you, one breath at a time. Now that you understand the profound connection between your breath and your reality, it is time to learn the foundation practice that will serve as your anchor in this new way of living. This is not just another technique to add to your collection of self-help tools. This is a way of being that will fundamentally shift how you move through the world and how the world responds to you. The beautiful thing about conscious breathing is that it meets you exactly where you are. Whether you have never paid attention to your breath before, or whether you have been exploring breathing practices for years, this foundation will deepen your connection to your own inner wisdom and power. There is no wrong way to begin, and there is no way to fail at this. Your breath is patient and forgiving, always ready to support you in coming back to your center. Before we begin the practice itself, let us create the proper environment within you and around you. Find a position where you can be comfortable for the next few minutes. This might be sitting in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, or it might be lying down if that feels better for your body today. The most important thing is that your spine can be relatively straight so that your breath can flow freely through you. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. This is not a test or a judgment about how you are breathing right now. This is simply a way of bringing your attention into your body and beginning to notice the miracle that is already happening within you. Feel the warmth of your hands against your body. Feel the life force pulsing gently beneath your palms. You are about to embark on a journey that countless souls before you have taken, a journey back to the source of your own strength and peace. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or soften your gaze and let it rest gently downward. Begin to simply observe your breath as it is right now without trying to change anything. Notice which hand moves more as you breathe. Notice the quality of your breath. Is it fast or slow, deep or shallow, smooth or irregular? There is no right or wrong here, only awareness. You are gathering information about your current state so that you can gently guide yourself toward greater harmony. Now, slowly and gently, begin to breathe in through your nose. Let this inhale be deeper than your normal breath, but do not force it or strain. Think of it as inviting more life force into your body, as opening the door wider to receive the nourishment that is always available to you. As you breathe in, allow your belly to expand first, like a balloon filling with air. Then let this breath continue to fill your middle ribs and finally your upper chest. This is called diaphragmatic breathing, and it is the way you breathe naturally when you were a baby, before stress and tension taught you to breathe in a more limited way. Hold this breath gently for just a moment, not with tension but with appreciation. In this pause, you are holding pure potential within you. You are cradling the life force that connects you to every living thing. Feel the fullness, feel the aliveness, feel the peace that comes from being completely present in this moment. Now exhale slowly through your mouth, letting the breath flow out like a gentle sigh. As you release this breath, let go of anything you no longer need, any tension, any worry, any old stories about who you are or what is possible for you. This exhale is not just releasing air. It is releasing anything that is not serving your highest good. Feel your belly draw in gently as the breath leaves your body, creating space for new life, new possibilities, new experiences to enter. Let us practice this together now with a specific rhythm that has been used for thousands of years to create profound shifts in consciousness and well-being. This is called the 4-7-8 breath, and it is like a gentle reset button for your entire nervous system. The numbers refer to the count of seconds for each part of the breath, but do not worry about getting the timing perfect. The intention and the awareness are far more important than precise counting. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel your body expanding and opening. Feel yourself drinking in life itself. Hold this breath gently for a count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In this holding, you are allowing the life force to saturate every cell of your being, to reach places in your body that may not have received full nourishment in a long time. Now exhale through your mouth for a count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This longer exhale activates your body's natural relaxation response and helps to release any stress or tension that has been stored in your system. The first time you practice this breath, You might feel a little lightheaded or notice that your heart rate changes. This is perfectly normal and safe. Your body is simply adjusting to receiving more oxygen and releasing more carbon dioxide than it is used to. If you feel any discomfort, simply return to your natural breathing rhythm for a few moments before trying again. Your body will gradually adapt to this new way of breathing, and it will begin to crave the peace and vitality that conscious breathing brings. As you continue with this practice, you may notice that your mind tries to interfere with thoughts about whether you are doing it right, or whether it is really working, or what you should be doing after this. This is just your mind doing what minds do, trying to stay busy and in control. When you notice thoughts arising, simply acknowledge them with kindness and gently return your attention to your breath. Think of your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. You do not need to fight them or follow them. You can simply let them drift by while you remain anchored in the rhythm of your breathing. With each complete cycle of this breath, the inhale, the hold, and the exhale, you are literally rewiring your nervous system for greater peace and resilience. You are teaching your body that it is safe to relax, safe to open, safe to receive the goodness that life wants to bring you. You are also training your mind to focus on what is happening right now instead of spinning stories about the past or worrying about the future. The immediate benefits of this practice are profound and noticeable. Within just a few minutes of conscious breathing, your heart rate will slow down, your blood pressure will decrease, and your stress hormones will begin to subside. Your muscles will start to relax, your digestion will improve, and your immune system will function more effectively. Your mind will become clearer and calmer, and you will feel more connected to your own inner wisdom and strength. But the real magic of this practice reveals itself over time. When you make conscious breathing a regular part of your daily routine, you begin to carry this sense of peace and centeredness with you throughout your day. Situations that used to trigger stress and anxiety no longer have the same power over you. You find yourself responding to challenges from a place of calm clarity instead of reactive fear. Your relationships improve because you are more present and less defensive. Your creativity flourishes because your mind is no longer consumed with worry and distraction. This foundation practice is like learning to walk or learning to read. At first, it requires conscious effort and attention, but with practice, it becomes as natural as your heartbeat, supporting you and nourishing you without you having to think about it. The key is consistency rather than perfection. It is better to practice conscious breathing for 5 minutes every day than to do it for an hour once a week. Your nervous system learns through repetition, and small, consistent practices create lasting transformation. Some days your breathing practice will feel easy and blissful. Other days it might feel difficult or uncomfortable. Both experiences are valuable and normal. Your breath is not separate from your life. It is intimately connected to everything you are experiencing and processing. On the difficult days, your breathing practice becomes even more important because it gives you a way to stay connected to your center even when everything around you feels chaotic. Now we are ready to explore breathing techniques that are specifically designed to create rapid and profound shifts in your reality. These practices build upon the foundation you have just learned, but they are targeted toward particular areas of your life where you may be seeking transformation. Think of these as specialized tools in your toolkit for conscious living. The first technique we will explore is heart-centered breathing for emotional healing. Your heart is not just a pump that moves blood through your body. Your heart is also an intelligent organ that generates its own electromagnetic field and has its own neural network. When you breathe consciously while focusing your attention on your heart, you activate what scientists call heart coherence, a state where your heart, mind, and emotions are in balanced alignment. To practice heart-centered breathing, place both hands over your heart and feel the warmth and gentle pressure of your palms against your chest. Begin with the foundation breathing pattern you just learned, but now direct your breath into and out of your heart area. With each inhale, envision breathing in love, compassion, and healing energy directly into your heart. With each exhale, let your heart release any old pain, resentment, or sadness that it has been carrying. As you continue this practice, you might find that emotions arise, perhaps sadness, anger, or fear that has been stored in your heart for months or even years. Do not try to push these emotions away or judge them as wrong. Instead, breathe with them. Let your conscious breathing create a safe container for these emotions to be felt and released. Your heart knows how to heal itself when you give it the space and support it needs. This heart-centered breathing is particularly powerful for healing relationships, both with others and with yourself. As you practice, you might find yourself thinking of someone you have been in conflict with or someone you miss. Instead of getting caught up in the story of what happened between you, simply breathe love toward them and toward yourself. This does not mean you have to agree with their actions or invite them back into your life. It simply means you are freeing your heart from the burden of carrying resentment and pain. The second technique is abundance breathing for manifestation. This practice works with the law of attraction by aligning your energetic vibration with the experiences you want to create in your life. Many people struggle with manifestation because they try to think their way into abundance while their body and breath are still operating from patterns of scarcity and lack. This technique helps you embody the feeling of abundance at the cellular level. Sit comfortably and begin with several cycles of your foundation breath. Then, as you inhale, breathe in the feeling of already having everything you need. Breathe in gratitude for the abundance that is already present in your life. The air you breathe, the beating of your heart, the life force flowing through you. With each exhale, release any beliefs or fears about not having enough, not being enough, or not deserving good things. As you continue this practice, allow yourself to feel genuinely grateful for things you want to experience, as if they have already happened. This is not about pretending or lying to yourself. This is about recognizing that on an energetic level, everything you need already exists, and your job is to align yourself vibrationally with those possibilities. Your breath becomes the bridge between your current reality and your desired reality. Many people find that after practicing abundance breathing regularly, they begin to notice more opportunities, more synchronicities, and more ease in their daily lives. They start to receive unexpected money, meet helpful people, or find solutions to problems that had seemed impossible. This happens not because breathing is magic, but because breathing changes their internal state, which changes how they show up in the world, which changes how the world responds to them. The third technique is clarity breathing for decision-making and intuition. Your body holds tremendous wisdom about what is right for you and what is not, but this wisdom is often drowned out by the noise of your thinking mind. This breathing practice helps you access your intuitive knowing by quieting mental chatter and tuning into the subtle signals your body is constantly sending you. When you have a decision to make or a question you need answered, sit quietly and begin your foundation breathing. Once you feel centered and calm, bring your question or decision into your awareness. Now, breathe as if you are breathing the question into your entire body, not just your mind. Notice what sensations arise. Does your body feel expansive or contracted? light or heavy, peaceful or agitated. Your body will always move toward what is truly good for you and away from what is not aligned with your highest path. When you are considering something that is right for you, your breathing will naturally become deeper and easier. Your muscles will relax and you will feel a sense of rightness or resonance. When you are considering something that is not in your best interest, your breathing may become shallow or difficult, your muscles may tense, and you will feel a sense of resistance or discomfort. This practice takes time to develop, especially if you have been taught to trust your mind more than your body. But as you practice clarity breathing regularly, you will find that you have access to a source of wisdom that is far more reliable than mental analysis alone. Your body knows things that your mind cannot figure out, and your breath is the key to accessing this deeper knowing. All three of these techniques work best when they are practiced regularly, not just when you are in crisis or facing a big decision. Think of them as daily vitamins for your soul, keeping you aligned, clear, and open to the magic that life wants to bring you. Even 5 or 10 minutes a day with these practices will begin to create noticeable shifts in how you feel and how you experience your life. The power of breathing techniques is magnified exponentially when they are combined with conscious language and intention. This brings us to the beautiful practice of breathing affirmations, a way of using your breath to plant seeds of positive change deep in your subconscious mind, while simultaneously shifting your energetic vibration. Affirmations are not just pretty words or wishful thinking. When they are combined with conscious breathing, they become powerful tools for reprogramming the beliefs and patterns that have been running your life unconsciously. Your subconscious mind is most receptive to new programming when you are in the relaxed, coherent state that conscious breathing creates. This is why breathing affirmations are so much more effective than simply repeating positive statements while your body is tense and your mind is scattered. The key to working with breathing affirmations is understanding the natural rhythm of your breath and how different types of statements work with different parts of the breathing cycle. When you inhale, you are in a receptive mode, open to taking in new energy, new possibilities, new ways of being. This makes the inhale perfect for affirmations about what you want to experience or embody. When you exhale, you are in a releasing mode, letting go of what no longer serves you. This makes the exhale ideal for affirmations about what you are ready to release or transform. A simple but powerful way to work with breathing affirmations is to choose one quality or experience you want to cultivate in your life. This might be peace, confidence, love, abundance, health, or clarity. On your inhale, breathe in this quality as if it were already fully present within you. You might say internally, I am breathing in perfect peace, or I am receiving unlimited love, or I am drawing in vibrant health. Feel the truth of these words as you breathe them into your body. On your exhale, release anything that contradicts or blocks this quality. You might say, I am releasing all anxiety and worry, or I am letting go of the need to control, or I am exhaling all beliefs in limitation. Feel these old patterns leaving your system with each out-breath, creating space for new experiences to take root. For those who are working with financial abundance, you might breathe in with the affirmation, I am worthy of prosperity and wealth flows to me easily, and breathe out with, I release all fear and scarcity thinking from my cells. For those who are healing from relationship challenges, you might inhale, I am surrounded by loving, supportive people, and exhale, I let go of all past hurts and open my heart to new love. If you are dealing with health challenges, you could breathe in, every cell in my body radiates perfect health and vitality, and breathe out, I release all toxins and disease from my system. For those seeking greater purpose and meaning, try inhaling, I am guided clearly toward my highest path, and exhaling, I let go of confusion and trust my inner wisdom. The specific words you choose are less important than the feeling and intention you put behind them. Your subconscious mind responds more to emotion and energy than to literal language. This is why it is crucial to really feel the truth of your affirmations as you breathe them, rather than just thinking the words mechanically. Some people find it helpful to coordinate their affirmations with their heartbeat as well as their breath. Place your hand over your heart and feel the rhythm of your pulse. Let your affirmations flow with this rhythm so that your heart, your breath, and your intention are all working together in harmony. This creates a very powerful state of coherence that amplifies the effectiveness of your practice. When you first begin working with breathing affirmations, your mind might resist or try to argue with the positive statements you are making. You might find yourself thinking, "But this is not true," or "This is just pretending," or "Nothing is really changing." This resistance is completely normal and actually indicates that your practice is working. Your old programming is being challenged, and it is fighting to maintain its familiar patterns. When you notice resistance arising, do not try to fight it or convince yourself that your affirmations are true. Instead, simply acknowledge the resistance with compassion and continue breathing your affirmations anyway. You might even breathe out the resistance specifically, saying something like, "I am releasing all doubt about my ability to change," or "I exhale all old beliefs that no longer serve me." The transformation that comes from breathing affirmations is usually gradual and subtle, rather than dramatic and sudden. You might notice that you feel slightly more peaceful after a session, or that you respond to stress a little differently throughout your day. You might find that new opportunities start appearing in your life, or that people begin treating you differently. These small shifts are signs that your practice is working at a deep level, rewiring your nervous system and shifting your energetic signature. To create your own personalized breathing affirmations, start by identifying the area of your life where you most want to experience change. Then ask yourself 2 questions. What do I want to experience more of? What am I ready to release? Your inhale affirmation will address the first question, and your exhale affirmation will address the second. Write your affirmations in present tense as if they are already true. Use positive language and focus on what you want rather than what you do not want. Make them personal and specific to your situation, and most importantly, choose affirmations that feel exciting and expansive when you say them, even if they also feel a little scary or too good to be true. The practice of breathing affirmations is like planting seeds in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. With each session, you are watering these seeds with the life force of your breath and the energy of your intention. Some seeds will sprout quickly, bringing noticeable changes in your thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Others will germinate slowly, preparing for changes that will unfold in perfect timing. Trust the process. Even when you cannot see immediate results, every conscious breath you take with positive intention is valuable and powerful. Every moment you spend aligned with your highest vision for your life is a moment that contributes to the manifestation of that vision. Your breath is your faithful ally in this process, always available, always supportive, always ready to help you become the person you were born to be. The true power of any spiritual practice lies not in how it makes you feel during the few minutes you are actively engaged with it, but in how it transforms the way you live your everyday life. Breathing consciously for 10 or 20 minutes in the morning is beautiful and valuable, but the real magic happens when you begin to weave this awareness throughout your entire day, bringing the peace and presence you cultivate in practice into every moment and every interaction. Most people live their days in a constant state of shallow, unconscious breathing, moving from one task to the next, without ever truly arriving in their own bodies or their own lives. They breathe one way when they are stuck in traffic, another way when they are having a difficult conversation, and yet another way when they are trying to fall asleep at night. Each of these breathing patterns creates a different internal state, which attracts different external experiences. But because the breathing is unconscious, they feel like victims of whatever happens to them rather than creators of their own experience. When you begin to integrate conscious breathing into your daily routine, everything shifts. You become the artist of your own life, painting each moment with the colors of peace, joy, love, or whatever other qualities you choose to breathe into being. You stop reacting automatically to external circumstances and start responding consciously from your center. This does not mean that challenges disappear from your life, but it does mean that you meet those challenges from a completely different place within yourself. The morning is the most powerful time to establish your energetic foundation for the entire day. Before you check your phone, before you think about your to-do list, before you allow the demands of the external world to pull you out of your center, take just 5 minutes to breathe consciously and set your intention for the day ahead. This might mean practicing your foundation breathing pattern while you are still lying in bed, or sitting quietly with a cup of tea and breathing in gratitude for the new day you have been given. As you breathe in the morning, allow yourself to feel excited about the possibilities that this day holds. Breathe in the energy of whatever you want to experience. Productivity and ease if you have a busy day ahead, creativity and inspiration if you are working on a project, love and connection if you have important relationships to nurture. With each exhale, release any anxiety about the day ahead, any resentment about what happened yesterday, any worry about what might go wrong. Start each day with a clean slate and a clear heart. Throughout your day, you can use your breath as an anchor to bring you back to presence whenever you notice yourself getting caught up in stress, worry, or reactivity. When you find yourself holding your breath while concentrating on a difficult task, consciously soften and deepen your breathing. When you feel your heart rate increasing during a challenging conversation, use your breath to create space between the trigger and your response. When you notice tension building in your shoulders or jaw, breathe into those areas and imagine the breath melting away the tightness. In the workplace, conscious breathing can transform not only your own experience, but also the energy of your entire environment. When you enter a meeting breathing consciously and centered in your own power, you bring a quality of calm presence that others can feel and respond to. When you listen to a colleague's ideas while breathing with an open heart, you create space for true collaboration and creativity. When you handle criticism or pressure while maintaining your connection to your breath, you model for others what it looks like to remain peaceful in the midst of chaos. The simple act of breathing consciously while you eat can transform your relationship with food and nourishment. Before you take your first bite, pause and take 3 deep breaths, connecting with gratitude for the nourishment you are about to receive. As you eat, notice when you hold your breath or breathe shallowly and gently return to conscious breathing. This practice not only improves your digestion and helps you eat more mindfully, but it also infuses your food with the energy of presence and appreciation. Your commute, whether it is 5 minutes or an hour, whether you are walking, driving, or taking public transportation, can become a sacred time for breathing practice rather than a source of stress and frustration. Instead of listening to news that increases your anxiety or replaying conversations that trigger your emotions, use this time to breathe yourself into the state you want to embody when you arrive at your destination. If you are driving, coordinate your breathing with the rhythm of the road. If you are walking, let your breath sync with your steps. If you are on public transportation, use your breath to create a bubble of peace around you, regardless of what is happening in your external environment. Evening breathing practices are essential for releasing the accumulated stress and tension of the day and preparing your body and mind for restorative sleep. Before you begin your evening routine, take a few minutes to breathe out everything you absorb during the day that is not yours to carry. Breathe out other people's emotions. Breathe out the energy of crowded spaces. Breathe out any negativity or conflict you encountered. Then breathe in peace. Breathe in gratitude for the lessons and experiences of the day. Breathe in love for yourself and all the ways you showed up as best you could. As you lie in bed preparing for sleep, let your breath become your pathway to surrender and rest. With each exhale, let go of the need to control anything in your life. Release your grip on outcomes, on other people's choices, on timelines that may not be in alignment with divine timing. With each inhale, breathe in trust that you are being guided and supported in ways you cannot always see or understand. Allow your breath to rock you to sleep like a gentle lullaby, carrying you into the restorative darkness where healing and renewal take place. For those moments when life feels particularly challenging or overwhelming, you can use what I call emergency breathing techniques. When you receive unexpected bad news, when you find yourself in conflict with someone you love, when fear or panic begins to take over your system, your breath can be your lifeline back to stability and strength. The moment you notice your breathing becoming shallow or erratic, stop whatever you are doing and focus completely on your breath for at least 1 minute. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 6 counts. This simple practice will activate your body's relaxation response and give you access to your inner wisdom about how to respond to the situation. The key to successful integration is to start small and be consistent rather than trying to transform everything at once. Choose 1 or 2 specific times during your day when you will commit to breathing consciously and practice this consistently for at least 2 weeks before adding anything else. You might choose to breathe consciously every time you wash your hands, or every time you walk through a doorway, or every time you hear your phone ring. These small moments of practice will gradually weave a thread of consciousness throughout your entire day. Remember that every person you encounter is also breathing, also carrying within them the same life force that flows through you. When you interact with others from a place of conscious breathing, you are not only improving your own experience, but also offering them a gift of presence and peace. Your calm, centered energy gives others permission to relax and open as well. In this way, your personal breathing practice becomes an act of service to the world. Over the years, I have witnessed countless transformations that seemed impossible until they happened. There was a time when a woman came to one of my workshops carrying grief so heavy that she could barely lift her head to make eye contact. She had lost her husband in a sudden accident, and for months afterward, she could barely breathe without feeling like she was drowning in sorrow. Her breath had become so shallow and tight that she was living in a constant state of panic, unable to sleep, unable to eat, unable to imagine ever feeling joy again. During that workshop, we practiced the heart-centered breathing technique, and something miraculous began to happen. As she breathed consciously into her heart, the tight knot of grief that had been choking her for months began to soften, not disappear. Her love for her husband would always be part of her, but soften enough that she could breathe around it, could feel love alongside the sadness, could sense that her heart was big enough to hold both her grief and her gratitude for the years they had shared together. 6 months later, she wrote to tell me that conscious breathing had saved her life, not in a dramatic rescue from the edge way, but in the quiet, steady way that happens when we learn to work with our breath to process our emotions rather than being overwhelmed by them. She had started a support group for other widows and widowers, teaching them the breathing techniques that had helped her navigate her own journey through loss. Her breath had become not just a tool for her own healing, but a bridge to help others find their way back to life after devastating loss. Then there was a young man who had struggled with anxiety and panic attacks since childhood. He had tried medication, therapy, and every stress reduction technique he could find, but nothing had given him lasting relief. He lived in constant fear of the next attack, which ironically created the exact state of tension that triggered more attacks. His breath had become his enemy rather than his ally, and he had developed a habit of holding his breath whenever he felt the slightest bit of stress, which only made everything worse. When he discovered the 4-7-8 breathing technique, he was skeptical that something so simple could help where everything else had failed. But within weeks of consistent practice, he noticed that his panic attacks were becoming less frequent and less intense. Within months, he was sleeping through the night for the first time in years and had started accepting social invitations that he had been avoiding out of fear. The most remarkable change was not just that his anxiety had decreased, but that he had developed confidence in his ability to handle whatever emotions arose. His breath had taught him that he could trust himself to navigate difficult feelings without being destroyed by them. There was also a woman who had been struggling financially for years, working multiple jobs, but never seeming to get ahead, always worried about making ends meet. She had grown up in a family where money was a constant source of stress and conflict, and she had inherited both the practical challenges of financial insecurity and the emotional patterns of scarcity and fear around money. Despite working harder than almost anyone she knew, abundance seemed to elude her no matter what she tried. When she began practicing abundance breathing, something shifted in her relationship, not just to money, but to her own sense of worthiness and possibility. As she breathed in feelings of gratitude and plenty, and breathed out the old family patterns of lack and limitation, opportunities began appearing in her life that had been invisible to her before. A former colleague mentioned a job opening that turned out to be perfect for her skills. A neighbor offered to rent her a beautiful apartment for far less than market value. Small amounts of unexpected money began coming to her from various sources: a tax refund she had forgotten about, a rebate check, payment for freelance work she had done months earlier. But the most important shift was internal. She stopped approaching money from a place of desperation and started approaching it from a place of trust and openness. This change in her energy was so profound that people began responding to her differently. In job interviews, she projected confidence instead of neediness. In salary negotiations, she asked for what she was worth instead of settling for whatever was offered. Within a year, her income had doubled, not through any dramatic windfall, but through a series of small improvements and opportunities that emerged naturally as her internal state shifted. These stories are not unusual or extraordinary. They represent the natural result of aligning with the way life actually works. When we learn to use our breath to shift our internal state, our external experiences shift to match. When we stop fighting against life and start flowing with it, life begins to support us in ways that feel like magic, but are actually just the normal operation of a universe that is always seeking to express more love, more joy, more abundance through each one of us. The common thread in all these transformations is that they did not happen overnight, and they did not happen through the breathing practices alone. Each person had to make a choice again and again to trust the process, even when they could not see immediate results. They had to be willing to feel their emotions fully rather than pushing them away. They had to practice self-compassion when old patterns tried to reassert themselves. And they had to integrate their breathing awareness into their daily lives rather than treating it as something separate from their real experience. Every transformation begins with a single conscious breath. Every healing starts with the willingness to soften and open to what wants to emerge. Every breakthrough happens when we stop trying to control life from our small, fearful minds and start allowing life to flow through us from the infinite source of wisdom and love that is our true nature. Your story of transformation is waiting to unfold. It is written in your breath, encoded in the very life force that sustains you. Every time you choose to breathe consciously instead of unconsciously, you are authoring a new chapter in this story. Every time you use your breath to shift from fear to love, from resistance to acceptance, from separation to connection, you are not only healing yourself, but contributing to the healing of the world. Even when you have been practicing conscious breathing for weeks or months, there will be times when it feels difficult or when you encounter resistance. This is not a sign that you are doing something wrong or that the practice is not working for you. Resistance is a natural part of any growth process, and understanding how to work with it skillfully will deepen your practice and accelerate your transformation. One of the most common forms of resistance is the mind's tendency to dismiss breathing practices as too simple to be effective. Your thinking mind has been conditioned to believe that real change requires struggle, effort, and complex solutions. When you offer it something as simple as breathing consciously, it may rebel with thoughts like, "This is too easy," or "I need something more sophisticated," or "Breathing is not going to solve my real problems." When this type of mental resistance arises, do not try to argue with your thoughts or convince yourself that breathing is powerful. Instead, simply acknowledge these thoughts with compassion and return your attention to your breath. You might even thank your mind for trying to protect you from disappointment or false hope, and then gently redirect your focus to the actual experience of breathing. Over time, as you begin to notice real changes in your life, your mind will become your ally rather than your obstacle. Another common challenge is physical discomfort during breathing practices. Some people experience dizziness, tingling, or unusual sensations when they first begin breathing more consciously. Others find that emotions arise during their practice, sometimes sadness, anger, or fear that seems to come from nowhere. These experiences can be unsettling, especially if you were expecting breathing to feel only peaceful and pleasant. It is important to understand that these responses are often signs that your practice is working, not signs that something is wrong. When you breathe consciously, you are bringing more life force into your system than your body may be accustomed to receiving. You are also creating space for emotions and energy that have been stored in your body to surface and be released. This process of clearing and rebalancing can temporarily create discomfort, but it is leading you toward greater health and vitality. If you experience physical discomfort during breathing practice, slow down and breathe more gently. If you feel lightheaded, focus on making your exhales longer than your inhales. If you feel overwhelmed by emotions, place your hands on your heart and breathe compassion to yourself while allowing the feelings to flow through you without resistance. Remember that you are in control of your practice and can always adjust the intensity or take a break if needed. Many people also struggle with finding time for breathing practice in their busy lives. Between work, family responsibilities, and all the other demands of modern living, setting aside even 10 minutes for conscious breathing can feel impossible. This challenge often leads to an all-or-nothing mentality, where people either practice perfectly or not at all, which usually results in giving up altogether. The solution to this challenge is to release the idea that breathing practice requires large blocks of uninterrupted time. Some of the most powerful breathing can happen in tiny moments throughout your day, 3 conscious breaths while waiting for your coffee to brew, 1 minute of heart-centered breathing before entering a meeting, mindful breathing while walking from your car to your office. These micro practices are not inferior to longer sessions. They are different tools for different circumstances, and they can be profoundly effective when used consistently. Another common obstacle is perfectionism and self-judgment. Many people start breathing practices with enthusiasm, but then become discouraged when they notice their minds wandering, when they forget to practice for a few days, or when they do not experience the dramatic changes they were hoping for. They begin to tell themselves stories about being bad at meditation, not being spiritual enough, or lacking discipline. This self-criticism is actually more harmful to your progress than missing a few practice sessions. Your breath does not judge you for being imperfect. It is always available, always patient, always ready to support you, regardless of how long it has been since your last conscious breath. When you notice self-judgment arising, use it as an opportunity to practice self-compassion. Breathe kindness to yourself. Acknowledge that you are human and therefore imperfect by design, and gently return to your practice without making yourself wrong for having wandered away from it. Some people encounter resistance in the form of skepticism about whether breathing practices really work or whether the changes they are experiencing are just placebo effects. This doubt can be particularly strong for people who are more analytically minded or who have been disappointed by other self-help approaches in the past. While healthy skepticism is not necessarily a bad thing, chronic doubt can prevent you from fully engaging with your practice and therefore limit the benefits you receive. If you find yourself struggling with doubt, try approaching your breathing practice as an experiment rather than something you have to believe in. Give yourself permission to be curious about what happens when you breathe consciously without needing to understand exactly how or why it works. Pay attention to the immediate effects on your body and mind during and after your practice sessions. Notice any changes in your sleep, your energy levels, your relationships, or your overall sense of well-being. Let your direct experience be your guide rather than your preconceived ideas about what should or should not be possible. Perhaps the most challenging form of resistance comes when breathing practices begin to work and you start to experience positive changes in your life. This might sound contradictory, but many people have unconscious fears about becoming too peaceful, too happy, or too successful. They worry that if they release their anxiety and stress, they will become lazy or lose their edge. They fear that if they open their hearts too much, they will be vulnerable to being hurt. They are concerned that if they start manifesting abundance, other people will judge them or expect too much from them. These fears are understandable and very human. Most of us have learned to use struggle and suffering as identity markers or as ways of staying connected to others who are also struggling. The idea of moving beyond these familiar patterns can feel threatening to the part of us that equates safety with sameness. When this type of resistance arises, it is important to move very slowly and gently, honoring your need for safety while gradually expanding your comfort zone. Remember that you are always in control of your own growth process. You can choose to open to positive change at whatever pace feels right for you. You do not have to transform your entire life overnight, and you do not have to become someone completely different than who you are. You can simply allow your truest, most authentic self to emerge gradually through the support of your conscious breathing practice. The most important thing to remember when working with resistance is that it is temporary. Like clouds passing through the sky, challenges and obstacles will arise and then move on. Your breath is the constant sky, always present, always supporting you, always ready to help you weather whatever storms may come. Trust in the process. Be patient with yourself and know that every breath you take with awareness and intention is valuable, regardless of how it feels in the moment. As we come to the close of our time together, I want you to know how proud I am of you for taking this journey. The very fact that you have listened to these words, that you have opened your heart and mind to the possibility of transformation through something as simple and profound as conscious breathing, tells me that you are ready to step into a new way of being in this world. You now have tools that can support you for the rest of your life. You have learned that your breath is not just something that keeps your body alive, but a bridge to greater peace, deeper love, and more abundant living. You have discovered that you do not have to be a victim of your circumstances, your emotions, or your past conditioning. You have the power to shift your reality one breath at a time, and that power is always available to you, no matter where you are or what you are going through. But knowledge alone is not transformation. Information without application remains just interesting ideas. The real magic happens when you take what you have learned and begin to live it, when you make conscious breathing not just something you do, but something you are. This is your invitation to begin that integration right now, in this moment, with your very next breath. Start small and be consistent. Choose one breathing practice that resonated with you today and commit to doing it for just 5 minutes each day for the next week. Notice what shifts, both in how you feel and in what shows up in your life. Let your own experience be your teacher and your motivation to continue. Remember that transformation is not about becoming perfect or fixing everything that you perceive as wrong with yourself or your life. Transformation is about returning to who you truly are, beneath all the layers of conditioning, fear, and limiting beliefs. It is about remembering that you are a magnificent being having a human experience, and that your breath is your constant reminder of the divine life force that flows through you every moment of every day. There will be days when your breathing practice feels easy and natural, and there will be days when it feels difficult or when you forget to do it altogether. Both of these experiences are perfectly normal and acceptable. Your worth as a human being is not determined by how consistently you practice or how quickly you transform. You are valuable and lovable exactly as you are right now, and your breathing practice is simply a way of opening to experience even more of the love and joy that are your birthright. As you continue on this path, trust that you are being guided and supported in ways that you cannot always see. The universe is conspiring to help you become the fullest expression of yourself, and your conscious breathing is one of the ways you can align with this supportive flow. Every time you choose presence over distraction, peace over anxiety, love over fear, you are not only healing yourself, but contributing to the healing of our entire world. The breath that flows through you is the same breath that has sustained every wise teacher, every compassionate healer, every courageous changemaker who has ever lived. You are connected through your breath to an infinite lineage of souls who have used their lives to bring more light and love into this world. You are part of this beautiful continuity, and your conscious breathing is your way of adding your unique note to the eternal song of existence. So breathe, dear one. Breathe with awareness, breathe with intention, breathe with love. Let your breath be your prayer, your meditation, your pathway home to yourself. Let it remind you again and again that you are alive, that you are loved, and that you have everything within you that you need to create a life of meaning, purpose, and joy. The transformation you seek is not somewhere in the distant future waiting for you to become worthy of it. It is here, now, in this moment, available to you with your very next conscious breath. Your new life begins now. Breathe it into being.